So I lost power in my house for a few days, and it put me behind on my review schedule, including for this movie. You can say it put me in a real pickle. An American Pickle stars Seth Rogen as Hershel Greenbaum, a man who immigrates to America in the 1920s to build a better life for his family. However, one day at his factory job, he falls into a vat of pickles and is brined for 100 years. He wakes up in the present day and tracks down his great-grandson Ben, also played by Seth Rogen, who is his only living relative. Hershel moves in with Ben, and while he doesn't fully understand him, the two begin to learn more about the meaning of family through their time together. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and you like movies, whether it be blockbusters, hidden gems, or everything in between, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. Today, let's talk about An American Pickle. This just premiered on HBO Max. It's directed by Brendan Trost in his feature debut, having extensively worked as a cinematographer before this, though it's written by Simon Rich, who based this on a short story of his, and he's also the creator of one of the most underrated shows on FX, Man Seeking Woman, which was unfortunately cancelled. But he has another show out on TBS, Miracle Workers, which is supposed to be good as well, though I haven't seen it. But his involvement made me a little excited for this, if cautiously optimistic. I watched the trailer and I was really prepared for this to go either way. The premise seemed very gimmicky, but there was also this very sweet vibe, so I wasn't sure how effective the tone would be. But honestly, I was pleasantly surprised by this. It's way better than I expected it to be. You definitely need to get over the gimmicky premise, which is honestly one of the most contrived aspects of the movie. Like, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief that goes into how Hershel could have so conveniently found himself stuck in a vat of pickles for 100 years. Truthfully, I rolled my eyes when I saw that happen. However, once you move past that, it's honestly a very nice movie, and the sweet tone is actually what makes this really work. While there are some minor characters who we get brief glimpses of for a few scenes here and there, the majority of this movie is essentially just the two Seth Rogen performances. This lies heavily on his strengths as an actor, and he does a great job. Mainly for his performance as Hershel. That role in particular was the one I enjoyed more between the two. His arc has a sense of familiarity. It plays up the fish out of water cliches a number of times, like he sees a taxi pull up and he puts up his fist like he's ready to fight, and then there are other times where he does immediately threaten people with violence as a first resort because that's what he did back in the old days. Plus, he doesn't understand 2020 lingo, so there will be some typical misunderstandings there. So I'm not gonna pretend this does something wholly unique, but it does have some fun making jabs at today's culture by taking this approach. Like, there's a moment where Hershel's trying to start his own business by selling pickles that he literally just takes off the streets, and he's being asked a bunch of questions like if there are a bunch of preservatives or things regarding the environment, and he's just like, it's a pickle. And he's answering not really understanding the questions, and people are overanalyzing his statements. So jokes like that, poking fun at 2020 culture, actually kind of work out alright. His performance as Ben is also good, but what makes the Hershel performance the better of the two is that he's able to effectively move forward two different arcs, his own and Ben's. Hershel's biggest motivation is, more than anything, just being able to properly grieve for his family and give them the burial space they deserve, especially since their burial area is abandoned and underneath a giant billboard by a highway. So a lot of his actions are fueled by this motivation, and what he does as well is try to get Ben to be a little more open about grieving for his family. His parents died in a car crash, and he doesn't keep any pictures of them in his apartment other than a family photo album he keeps in his closet, and Hershel says they'll grieve together, but Ben initially refuses. So Hershel tries to bring that importance of family back into his life, and while Hershel isn't the perfect character, Rogen nails the earnest, sweet side of him and makes him a really enjoyable protagonist to follow. Though Hershel brings with him that good old-fashioned belief of living the American dream, and this leads to a very fun subplot which involves the pickle business Hershel starts that I mentioned earlier, and his success is in contrast to Ben's failures with an app he's trying to get off the ground, and because of a confrontation they have early on in the film, it leads to this rivalry of sorts between the two and turns into almost this cat and mouse of Hershel and Ben trying to undermine each other. And the film does a good job of raising the stakes and making things a little more ridiculous without delving into full-on parody, nor does it lose sight of its more sentimental side while doing this. There really aren't too many jarring shifts in tone, though it does end on kind of an abrupt note, but otherwise it does a great job balancing its themes and getting some good laughs. This is honestly a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Is it a must-see? Not necessarily, but for a movie with a silly premise like this, it actually finds a great balance between humor and heart. Besides the initial setup, it doesn't get too contrived, nor does its sentimental side become too sappy. It has a familiar scenario, but the dual performances by Seth Rogen are really enjoyable, and its message about the importance of family is the biggest takeaway. It's on HBO Max. If you have it, I'd definitely recommend checking it out. An American Pickle gets an 8 out of 10. Meanwhile, if you like Christopher Nolan's movies, I've been in the middle of reviewing each of those, and I'll have the next part of that series out hopefully within the next day or two. I'll be talking about The Dark Knight Rises. Stay tuned for that, and more 2020 reviews coming soon. So let me know, did you see An American Pickle, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the tone? Did you enjoy Seth Rogen's performances? And what's one of your favorite movies with an actor in multiple roles? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time.